just switching over to the podcast icon. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this picture, John.
It's a great picture.
I better have legs.
Oh, you still don't have legs. All right.
You don't have legs.
We're going to start up the podcast now, guys. Welcome to the first podcast of 2016, guys. Here we go. I can't stop laughing every time I see that fucking picture. It is amazing. The artwork is provided by Uberus/Vesenir. It is by far one of the best fucking pictures I've seen. Potato, I think it represents you.
I want legs.
Really,
Where's me legs?
really well.
Where's me legs?
You look so content, though.
I do. I look happy. Yeah, I look very happy. Is that a nose or a mouth?
I don't know what it is.
A
It's
bit
probably
of
a
both.
mouth.
It looks like I'm high as fuck. Like...
All right, so
You haven't got a care in the world.
No.
So this is basically the first podcast of 2016, and we are obviously going to be talking about some stuff. First of all, let me welcome everyone into 2016 and the hosts, TacticalPotato and Headshot. I'm sure you already know them. You can check out their YouTube accounts, and TacticalPotato is starting to do some Twitch as well. So make sure you're checking out his Twitch account when he starts streaming, and he's usually streaming fairly often. Now that that's out of the way, what I would like to bring up to speed is that, Update 18 has dropped. With Update 18, we had the second dream that came out, which was pretty easy to say was the biggest update from Digital Extremes for the year of 2015. With the second dream, we had the cinematic quests, we had the more lore implications, we had better explanation about the sentience, about the Lotus, about the Tenno and the Operator, and then, of course, we had some extra stuff as well. So within the second dream, we also had some extra stuff like the new Orbiter. We had the more spacious Lisette models as well. Then, of course, the Hunho bundle, then all the lower stuff that came out as well. I'm sure at this point, everyone has done the second dream quest. So if you're worried about spoilers, I would highly recommend, if you haven't done the quest, you either do it and then come back to the podcast, or you're more than welcome to carry on listening, because we will be talking a bit about the second dream quest as well. First of all, Potato, lead it off. What did you think about the second dream quest?
I loved it. That was deadly. I think it was the best thing that's happened to Warframe in a long time, and it's kind of looks like it's had a really good effect on other gamers as well, because there's, as anyone who's been on Twitch lately will know, there's been very large YouTubers playing the game, and I think a large part of that is down to the changes made in Update 18. It's kind of grabbed a lot of people's attention, so it's got to be good for the game.
Yeah, definitely. Headshot, your thoughts on the second dream quest?
I have to admit, I wasn't even close to expecting what the second dream would actually mean for the game. You mentioned it's probably the biggest update of the year. I think it's probably the biggest update they've ever done, of the entire game. It's been absolutely incredible. The music itself it legitimately sent a shiver up my spine when I'd listen to it. It was absolutely incredible. I just can't, I couldn't quite believe it. And then they just dropped the focus system, just dropped it on us at the end of it as well. And the customization, you think, wow, they absolutely hit the nail on the head with this one.
I think one of the biggest things, like you said, was the music. When I played the second dream quest, as soon as Update 18 came out, I played it on stream, and when I was playing, a lot of people, I was planning on doing it the day after, right? But a lot of people were like, do it. So I was doing it, and I was like, I muted my microphone, muted my sound and everything, and I just had the game volume at max volume. I was just sitting there playing, and it was late for me, so you don't understand how frustrating it was for me, because I couldn't show my excitement, or I was basically like, holy shit, basically throughout the entire thing. But I couldn't show that because, it was late for me. But I think at this point, anyone and everyone who has done the quest was probably in the same situation itself. They were gobsmacked because of how amazing it was. The production values were fantastic. The animation was amazing. The music was amazing. The ambience was amazing. It was just so well put together. It was absolutely fantastic. And, imagine the amount of effort that must have gone into making this as well. I mean, they've always posted stuff about the mocap system which they used and all that kind of stuff, but just thinking about it just kind of sends a shiver down my spine as well, just thinking how much effort has gone into making this quest. And
I was going to say the funny thing is, like, as soon as because I recorded it and put it on the channel afterwards, and I got hyped all over again just editing it, just watching it back and just editing the footage together again. I got hyped again. It was absolutely stunning, and the best thing about it for me was the fact that they managed to keep everything away from all the people that decide that data mining is a good thing. They kept to keep the focus system completely silent, to keep the customization and all of that stuff completely silent from all the data miners it was no mean feat, to be honest. And to be honest, it made me enjoy Update 18 so much more because I didn't have everything sort of spoiled beforehand. So I have to give them mad props for the fact that they managed to keep everything so secret up until when it launched.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine how hard it must have been for DE to kind of hold back and not give spoilers, because Second Dream was all tied together, right? So everything was like, if you mention one thing, it would basically become a spiral effect and spoil the entire thing. So them holding all of that back and waiting to see the community reaction was absolutely fantastic. I'm sure, Sheldon, Scott, Steve must have enjoyed watching people on stream or watching YouTube videos of people playing and, how their reactions were to the Second Dream as well. It must have been absolutely satisfying for them as well to see all that effort they put into it paid off. So on the topic of Second Dream itself, I know a lot of people have been asking for this for a long time. They've been talking about the lore implications of the of Tenno, of the Lotus, and how it all kind of fits in together. So now that we actually understand, and now that we know for sure that the Tenno are basically like these kind of quote-unquote superhumans which control bags of meat in bioarmor, we know how that link works. We understand how that thing works. And now we understand how the whole, when we understand the idea or the explanation of what Second Dream itself means. So, like you're the Tenno who are put into a dream state, which through the somatic link control the extra, you control the Warframes. So that controlling the Warframes is kind of like a dream within a dream. It's kind of like the setup for Inception, or if you will. And, explaining, finding out stuff like, what's his name? Alad V is Orokin as well, because, that's how Hunho mentions it as well. And then hearing stuff about Margulis, hearing stuff about how Lotus rebels against the Hunho as well. It's just interesting to hear all that stuff, and the way it's all been tied together is absolutely fantastic. Have you guys got anything you'd like to talk about, in terms of the lore itself?
I was going to say, like, they've been building up through the Cimmerish scans for a little while now. So they've obviously had this sort of plan as to how this Second Dream was going to go for quite some time. We had little bits of lore drops in those Cimmerish things. But the thing is, they've left the story open. They haven't answered absolutely everything, because we still don't really know why Stalker is so anti-Tenno.
Yeah, they kind of give us a taste and left us wanting more, basically.
Exactly, and we also don't know who, effectively, is controlling the Stalker. If the Stalker is a true Tenno, like we are, who is controlling the Stalker?
Hidden Tenno.
I guess this...
Sorry, I spoiled it for everyone. Sorry, I spoiled it.
I guess this is probably like the setup for, I think like they said on the dev stream yesterday, they're planning on doing more cinematic quests as well. So this is probably the setup to see how effectively they could take this further along and, how to explore the story through, cinematic quests and stuff like that. So, yeah, I guess, we'll just kind of wait and see in 2016 how they plan on expanding this. I'm definitely really psyched for it, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think I said this when Update 17 dropped. Update 17 was by far the most optimistic, or rather most what's the right word for it? They were really what's the word? It's not optimistic. It's I can't think of the right word for it. It's basically they were taking a gamble with some of the stuff they were doing, like with the removal of ambitious. That's the word. Thank you very much. They were very ambitious with the changes they were doing to, like, say, parkour and the removal of coptering. And with the replacement of coptering, Parkour 2.0 came in, and it was absolutely fantastic, right? I love Parkour 2.0. I even love it right now. And with Update 18, when the kind of stuff they were talking about, I thought this is going to be even more ambitious. And the fact is that they pulled it off, which is absolutely fantastic.
I just want more music.
Not
Mate,
just the
all I
music.
want.
I want to see where it goes from here. I want to see
Yes.
the next part of it. I want to see what else they can explain for us, and if they're going to elaborate more on the actual lore and give us more stuff to do with Hunha and the sentience and all that. That's what I want. With the music, don't get me wrong, the music was fucking incredible as well. It was absolutely amazing. But I just can't wait to see what happens next.
I can't wait to see how the sentients are going to invade the system. Like, if they are going to invade, or whether it's going to be a sort of a shady thing that they're going to try and sort of worm their way in rather than just a straight out attack. It's going to be, this year's going to be quite an exciting year, I think, in terms of the actual development of the story of Warframe.
Yeah. I think this is directly, like, now we've talked about Second Dream. Through Second Dream directly, we also need to talk about the next thing which they introduced, or rather the bomb that they dropped on us, which was the focus system. No one was expecting it. DE kept saying that, oh, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon. We're too busy, or whatever the reason was. And then it dropped right at the end of the quest. No one was expecting it, but it was there. Whatever shape or form, it may be in, like a bit of like a beta for it, but it was there, and it was absolutely fantastic as it dropped. No one was expecting it. No one was even expecting the customization for the Tenno. It was just absolutely fantastic. So here's my thing regarding the focus system. Because it's still experimental / in beta, a lot of things may change. But this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to discuss the stuff about the focus system regarding how the focus system is in place right now. Before I say my part, I would like to ask you guys, what are your thoughts about the focus system? Because I'm sure you've got your own views about how focus is good or bad.
It's broken.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
Well, the Naramon tree is broken compared to everything else. I don't mean it's broken. I mean the Naramon school is good, whereas the rest of them feel like they're playing catch up. Probably with the exception of the Hieracon, which is good for the energy. But the Naramon one, being able to go stealthed for ridiculous amounts of time, for really long survival missions, like there's guys going 2 hours straight in a Tower 4 by being stealthed the whole time, compared to some of the other ones. So I know it's early, like you said, but it would be nice for some of the other focus schools to be brought up to line with the Naramon one and with the Xenuric one. But right now, I feel like the Xenuric one kind of is leaps and bounds ahead of the rest.
In terms of the actual schools, yeah, I agree. Naramon is ridiculously powerful right now, and Xenuric is... I mean, to be honest, I use my Naramon on any sort of melee class and Xenuric on pretty much anything else that's pretty much power hungry. But I just feel that the focus system is kind of power creep for a system we don't really have. It feels like, in terms of the actual content, we've not been complaining that the content is too difficult. This is the thing. We've been complaining that it's too easy, and now we've got a focus system to invest more into, which is going to make the easy content we were complaining about even easier. It doesn't really seem to fit for me. They did rush it out. I mean, admittedly, on the dev stream yesterday, Steve basically said, look, we didn't really test it before we put it out, in all honesty. So, I mean, it being a problem is not a surprise, but I also think that maybe that's the reason why we ended up with such a broken way of getting the focus in the first place. Because it was basically exactly like we had with Syndicates 1.0, we had Viva. And the sort of the problems that came with that, with people farming ridiculous amounts of rep very, very, very quickly and maxing everything out in a couple of days. And then that got changed to a much better system. I like the rep system as it is now. But in terms of the way Focus came out, it basically was Syndicates 1.0, which just you've got to wonder whether they've actually learnt from the initial mistake in the first place, or whether it was just a placeholder thing until they got back after Christmas and actually could work on it a bit better. I just, with Focus, I don't know, I just feel it might be a little bit too much for the content that we've got currently.
Well, to have said before... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, maybe it's designed for content that we haven't actually got yet. And maybe they're giving us time to invest in some of these trees before they dump even harder content on us. But it's just making the easy content we've already got even easier, which doesn't really fit for me.
Yeah, like you said, we haven't really got that content. And hopefully maybe they are going to add harder content for us that'll be a lot like the sorties, maybe regular missions that would be of that level, which would mean running the focus system would be a lot more viable. But they have said in the past that some of the survival missions, the scaling isn't really meant to go beyond a certain point, haven't they? So when people are running 2 hours in a Tower 4 and they're going up against level 400, 500 enemies or whatever it is, then the focus school will kick in there and it'll be really useful there. But like Headshot said, that enemies at the minute where most people are only running the normal star chart on the noon enemies up to level 40, being stealthed the whole time is just, it's far too easy. So I don't want the Naramon one to be nerfed, don't get me wrong, that's the last thing I fucking want. I'd much prefer to see, like Headshot said as well, harder missions coming away, but also the other focus schools getting a bit of a touch up so as they are brought into line. I would really like the Unaira one, the armor one, be a little bit more powerful because, like everyone knows, I love running tanky frames, so I have to run a stealth fucking focus school when I would much prefer to have a bit more armor. It kind of annoys me a little bit as well, so I definitely prefer to see the Unaira one get a little bit of love.
Yeah, I think in general regarding focus, I've had a few thoughts about it. I mean, we've all had a chance to play with the focus system. We've had a chance to test the different schools. There were a couple of complaints, or rather a bit of criticisms regarding how focus was introduced or how we chose our schools from the actual quest itself. Like there wasn't an actual good enough. The explanations about what each school did and how the powers worked were not that clear. So that for one should have had like a better explanation of how it works. So I guess, you know, this was something which Steve mentioned yesterday as well on the dev stream as well. So I'm hoping that, you know, in the future that gets changed as well. So we'll see what happens regarding that. Regarding the focus thing, I agree with you, Potato, in the sense that there's one skill or there's one or two trees which I primarily use. I don't really particularly like using the others because they're so underwhelming compared to Naramon and Xenuric. There's no other reason for me to use extra damage because, for example, I do a lot of endurance runs. I did a few endurance runs with Headshot, and we're planning on doing another endurance run next week, like a 20k Hieracon run, for example. I'm not going to take a Madrai lens for that. Why would I? Because the damage will fall. The damage fall off will come and go so quickly that the effective range or the effectiveness of Madrai will fall off really quickly. Armor again does not matter because at that level, at 20k cryotic, enemies are going to be level 6,000 or whatever. They'll one-shot you either way. It does not matter whatsoever. And then you've got the other one, the healing one, which arguably could be pretty good, you know, because you can instant revive people, but it only stores a total number of charges. It doesn't store too many charges, and you have to literally be standing on top of them, and you have to press the button to instant revive them. So I guess that's a situational thing in general. I would rather use something like being permanently invisible while using melee weapons to kill everything, or rather have energy regen coming in like energy siphon. Now, if I was to play against, say, Grenier, because of the way armor scaling works, for example, everyone usually rolls with 4 CP. What that basically means is, in a situation like that, you could probably go with Xenuric or you could go with Naramon, like depending on which frame you're choosing. So I guess in that sense, I would agree. I think the focus system needs to be looked at again in terms of the bonuses that are provided from the other 3 schools so that they're brought up in line and they're just as good as Naramon. Again, as Headshot said, we've got different mods. We as Tenno with maxed out mods are so powerful that I think the content, the scaling for us compared to the content itself, there's a big gap. Newer players cannot do some of the stuff end game players can do within obviously, you know, good reason. New players should not be able to do a level 100 mission with ease. You know, that's the whole point. But that's within, you know, that deals with another problem in terms of how the scalability works as well. The scalability of enemies, for example, like look at a Grenier enemy with armor. It also scales on armor. It also scales on HP as well. And then, of course, with Grenier, you've got 2 sets of armor. So you have to deal with that. And in a situation like that, of course, CP becomes almost essential to use as well. And if you're going to use CP and you're using your powers for CC or whatever, in that case, you're going to be using a lot of energy. So I guess it's a system which is still in beta, which still needs to be tested and needs to be worked out. Although, regarding the actual focus system itself, my biggest problem with the focus system was the simple fact that it seems to me that DE has made the same mistake as they did with the syndicates, where it's basically Syndicate Mark 1 all over again, where you've got the focus cap and, you know, you do your daily focus cap and that's it, and you go back to playing. The focus gained when you play the game normally is very low compared to if you do something like Draco or you do something like a stealth run to get, you know, the stealth modifier. I mean, I'm okay with it because, you know, that basically means there's a reason to play stealth as well. But it just feels that I shouldn't be having to rely on specific game modes and specific quote-unquote cheese methods to hit my daily cap or to get my focus in a game like Warframe, where, you know, we're killing a lot, we're grinding and everything as well.
I think a large part of the Naramon tree at the minute, it probably wouldn't be so bad if it didn't also activate through abilities, as in Valkyr's claws, Excalibur's sword, fucking
Exalted Wave.
Yeah, who else? Atlas's landslide. Like all these frames through their own abilities. Like probably Valkyr is the one that is already ridiculously overpowered, but now she can also go stealthed for insane amounts of time. So maybe that's why people are also giving out saying that it's far too powerful, because frames themselves are able to stay in an invulnerable state, even like Wukong or something like that, and go stealthed because of the critical hits for serious amounts of time. So you're also not taking damage, but you're also dealing a lot of damage. Well, yeah.
See, this is the thing with the focus at the moment is, much like Syndicate 1.0, it feels like it's separate from the rest of the game. The way that DE changed the syndicates actually makes you, if you play the game normally, you will probably hit the cap fairly easily. But at the moment, focus is so... It's sort of, because of the way that it's Syndicate 1.0 kind of thing, you have to do it. It's almost like it's a completely separate thing. You can't just play the game and get your focus, because the focus gains are so low. So you really, at the moment, you do pretty much have to go into Draco or using Loki to do stealth runs, because just playing the game normally, you will not hit that focus cap. You just, unless you're going to play like, I don't know, 12 hours a day, you're not going to hit the cap. So the way that the focus is actually gained, they really need to look at how that is done, because at the moment it's just you don't get it by just playing the game.
I was thinking of a possible solution to the focus issue. I've talked to you guys before about this solution as well, and I remember initially when I spoke to a headshot, I think it was probably because of miscommunication. He probably misunderstood what I meant, and he was opposed to the idea originally, but once I explained it a bit better, he kind of seemed to take on the idea. The idea was, instead of having the way focus is right now, of course, I don't know whether this happens or not, because, you know, this would probably mean reworking focus altogether, but it was an idea which I think would have fit much better in the Warframe community. And this was something which I was discussing on my Discord with some friends. They said that why are we getting a limit? Why are we being punished with a limit or with a cap? Why not make the system so that something similar to the Borderlands 2 badass token system? So for people who have not played the Borderlands 2 and they have no idea what the Borderlands token system is like, it's basically when you complete challenges, you get you get a certain points, which those points you can add into certain stats. These stats are small percentages which increase your overall effectiveness of your character. The more you play, the more you can add to these stats, but they're not like massive bonuses. They're very tiny bonuses, like 0.1% per rank or per level. And then and the more you play Borderlands 2, the more you level up characters, the more challenges you complete, you get more badass token points, and you can keep adding them. And it doesn't make your character overpowered in any way either. Also, I think it would have been a better way, so that way you don't have to worry about having a focus cap. It would still let people play as much as they want. People can keep playing the game as much as they want without having to worry about a focus cap. And within the system itself, it would have also been better, and I still say this now, despite the fact that I bought 26 lenses when it first came out. I still think lenses should not have been made tradable. They are very easy to get from you doing these sorties as well, or if they had made it a bit easier to get, or whichever way they did it, you know. Hey, Potato.
Talk power granted.
The fuck was that all about?
The one time.
I
The
don't
one
know.
time it breaks is mid. Oh.
Oh, that was amazing.
How long did you carry on going before you realised you DC'd?
No, instantly. I just stopped instantly, like as soon as
I blame
have
the artwork.
Yeah.
I blame the artwork. It's because I've got no legs.
Yeah. That's amazing. All right, so let's get back onto the topic itself. But I don't even remember what the topic was. Focus
Badass.
about. Yeah, badass. Like, because we're using the badass tokens, you know, as an example. So it has no cap. You can carry on going as much as you want. The more you play, the more effort you put into it, the more you get out of it. And it doesn't punish players if they play too much or if they play too less either. So it's still a small bonus at the top of it, and it's basically just you keep topping it off as well. So I think a system like a badass token will probably benefit the focus system much more than what we currently have right now. I'm not sure how people feel about it, but I really think that the badass token system would definitely be better. What are your thoughts on that? Potato?
Rewarding. Oh,
Sorry, what?
I was
Well,
just asking what, yeah, I was just thinking, what are your thoughts on the solution I was talking about with the badass token for focus as opposed to what focus is right now?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. It'd be a nice change. So would I don't know. I think like you said earlier, though, it's still an early kind of set up for the whole focus system. So they're going to change something, and
Yeah.
they've already mentioned tokens for our sorties. So I don't know if another kind of currency in that or leveling up thing coming into the game. I don't know, dude. Being honest with you, at the minute something needs to be done to the focus system, and I think that might be a nice way of going about it because it is still
Yeah.
early days, but I don't know.
rewarding people for skillful play is always a good thing. I mean, we've got the sort of in-game missions already, like the 10 headshots sort of thing, which needs
Oh,
a
the
2.0.
challenge system, yeah.
Yeah, the challenge system, which needs a 2.0 fairly badly. Even still, like, so combining the two, like a 2.0 on that plus the focus system could be really, really nice and actually reward people for not only time in game, but also reward people for doing certain actions in the game, like, I don't know, get 10 headshots with the hind and you'll, and
Is that possible?
100 Yeah,
With the hind,
the hind is a great thing.
they're going to throw it at your enemies, maybe.
I'm gonna just troll your enemies to death. And basically, like, so, you could have like 10, 100,000 headshots with whatever, just having that sort of thing to reward player skill, player interaction, because the thing with the way the focus is at the moment, there isn't really a lot in the way of player interaction, and even still with the syndicates at the moment, it's other than you've got the syndicate pickup things, whatever they're called, the little things you grab in the syndicate missions.
Medallions?
That's the one.
Yeah.
You don't really have any player interaction still, so having a badass token sort of style of thing would increase player interaction with the game. It would actually also keep people, I think, more involved and give people like different stuff to do rather than just being like, because at the moment it's just, well, gotta log in, gotta do my focus. Because it is just its own separate thing right now. It needs to be more integrated with everything else, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I guess at this point is probably the best thing of just kind of wait and see what changes DE plans on bringing with the focus system itself. So I guess it'll be coming soon, TM. So I guess, like I said, when they come with the changes, because they did mention some changes on the dev stream yesterday itself, talking about how you can get like a focus booster when you do your actual gameplay itself, and how they might consider increasing the cap as well for focus. So I guess this is something which, these are just solutions or ideas for the focus system as it is. I guess they become moot until we actually see what DE plans on doing and how the changes come through when they do come through. So I guess it's just a kind of wait and see attitude for this is probably what's the best thing I can do for this. All right, so now that second dream and focus is out of the way, there's another topic which needs to be brought up, mainly because of the incident that happened yesterday with Barricadier. Barricadier came in yesterday and he brought in Prime Bane mods. Yeah.
He brought focus loads of salt.
Yeah. There was a lot of salt regarding Prime Bane mods, and I would like to bring up, first of all, people said that Bane mods are absolutely useless compared, and it basically reminds me of the Prime Reach fiasco where people said it's absolutely terrible. What I would like to remind people is, before you actually do the math, before you actually understand how the mods work, it's probably best not to complain about something, because until you actually see how it works. So my issue with the Bane mods is, in certain situations, yes, they do work out, and they actually work out much better than using 3 elements. But imagine the amount of resources that I have to go into maxing up that mod, because those mods are not useful unless they're maxed out. And to max out a max ranked Prime mod is 528 cores and nearly 2 million credits. Remember that, guys. That's a lot of grinding to do to get those cores. That's a lot of Hieracon runs, Triton runs, whatever runs you plan to do to get your cores and get those credits as well. You know, for all players who have a lot of credits and who play a lot, you know, it's fine. For situations like that, it's absolutely fine. But especially for new players, there are a lot of casual players who play Warframe, right? They don't have the time of, they don't have that same amount of time they can invest in a game like this. In that case, the only way they can acquire the maxed up mod is by buying it for platinum. And Prime mods don't exactly sell cheap either. So I have a feeling that in mix with the power creep that comes in with these mods as well, there's a lot of effort that goes behind these mods. And these mods are very situational. I won't take them in every situation. I wouldn't take them with crit-based weapons because I don't have enough mod slots to begin with. I would only use them in certain mods, in certain weapon builds, which are like kind of like high elemental, like high base damage kind of weapons itself. That's where I would use these mods. Having said that, I used the primed infested, Bane of Infested earlier on when I was doing the Hieracon runs before I started the podcast, and I did see a massive boost in damage, and it was kind of nice to have there, but even then, I don't really see myself using these in outside of niche situations. And thinking about it, you've got Prime mods, Bane mods for PC, you've got Prime Bane, you've got Bane mods for rifles, shotguns, melee, and secondaries. So potentially that could mean 12 different mods. 12 different mods with 528 cores and 2 million credits each to max them out. That is a lot of grinding. That is insane. I'm starting to feel like we're getting way too many Prime mods, and that's basically becoming the time and grind sink, which
I can
understand.
Chicken overlords.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose on one hand, it's okay, you know, having that shit, and the fact that you also have the possibility of getting legendary cores, although I think that's a scam, and I've never seen one, and whoever else gets one obviously is a hacker because I'm not getting them. So if anyone else is getting them, they're obviously hacking. but you know, they have a fairly low drop rate anyway. So it's not like you can just take a legendary core and just max that shit out and just use the mod itself. So I don't know. I think it's a lot of grind for a very niche mod in a very specific situation where you would use them. I mean, I'm not sure how it is. Headshot, what's your thoughts about that mod?
See, I've been doing quite a bit of testing, and in all honesty, like, you do quite a bit more damage. I was testing the Ratcacernos. I do have a video coming out. I think it will come out before this, but with just like my corrosive heat build on the Ratcacernos, I was doing just under 59,000 damage on a headshot on level 105 disruptors, and with the max prime in Bane of Infested, I was hitting just under 75,000. So the damage is there, and it is a pretty sizable damage increase. But like you say, it's I would actually probably use it on elemental weapons fairly often, or I would replace some of the 120% physical damage mods that I use, like on the Dread and the Bolter Prime and stuff. But I definitely wouldn't go anywhere near crit weapons with it personally, unless you've got extra room like you do on the Ratcacernos. But it's like you say, it's more the fact that there is going to be 12 of these things, each of them needing 520 something mods or cores to actually max, and you think, like, how realistic is that? In all honesty, how realistic is it that people are going to do this? It's a ridiculous amount of cores. I don't understand where they're expecting us to get all these cores from. They can't be expecting us just to sit in Hieracon for, 6 months of trying to get just to max out these things. It's one of those things that I understand rewarding the players for spending time in your game and for, playing quite a lot, but it needs to be at a realistic level, because once again, it's one of these things that you have to go out of your way specifically to do. To max out these Prime mods, you can't just play your normal missions, can you? You've got to go out and you've got to do something specific, like Triton or Hieracon. And it's one of those things that, for what, 12 mods, 525, that's what, 6,000 cores with bad math.
6240.
Thank you. You're much better at math
I have a calculator.
Or that. Like, if you think about how many, if you get an extractor every single time with 5 cores, maybe you can use your calculator and work out how many extractors that would be. But that is a ridiculous amount of time to be sat there, like, grinding these prime mods, because the thing is, Warframe is all about maxing these mods out. This is the thing, like, it's
like
all well
Frozen
and
said,
good.
for us it's going to be, I guess it's okay because we play the game so often, and for any of the veterans, we'll play the game a lot, and the guys that love min maxing will be all for it. They'll want to max these mods to throw out as much damage as possible. But guys that have work every day or have college or school every day that don't have that kind of time to put into a game, is it going to be worth those guys leveling a mod and spending that many cores and that much credits on a mod that going to take them such a long time to get all of the stuff for, as opposed to bringing a slash damage mod instead of it, or your second elemental? Like if you're going corrosive and fire, leaving the fire mod in instead of putting that one in, is it going to be better for them to bring that? And if it's the guys that can't farm as much because of real life stuff, then it's probably not going to be worth it for those. Like if they're going to have to spend up on 6,000 cores to level 12 of these prime mods, then that's going to take them a very, very, very long time.
I mean, hell, even for us that play the game a lot, it's going to take a very long
ridiculous,
time.
Yeah.
Bear in mind one thing, this is speculation. We don't know if we're actually going to get 12 of these mods, like one for each type of weapon. But say in the worst case scenario we do get, this is basically grinding insane amounts for that. I mean, you look at pistol mods already. You've got Prime Target Cracker, you've got Primed Heated Charge, you've got the other Prime mod, what's it called? Point Strike, or Pistol Gambit rather. Yeah, you got Disappointment as well. You've got so many prime mods as well, and on top of that, you also got the normal mods, and they kind of start becoming essential as well with certain builds and certain weapons as well. And that basically means you're putting 5, 6, 7 formers on a weapon just to make sure they all fit and you can actually use them efficiently as well. Because at the end of the day, most people will end up prefer having weapons like those or mods like those maxed out. And if you're going to max them out, you need like 5 or 6 slots for them. Of course, there's the Prime Pistol mutation mod as well, which I use on a weapon like, say, the Emberlist, which is actually a pretty decent weapon. Could do with a buff. Twin Grakada, of course. Twin Grakada is always needing ammo as well because it's so ammo hungry. But in general, I guess what we can wait and see is that with the topic of Serration being removed, or multi-shot being changed, or enemy scaling being changed, I guess if Serration gets removed, we're going to have 1 slot free on our weapons, right? And depending on what kind of build you're using, you might even have 2 slots free, because if people decide to drop the multi-shot so that they don't burn through ammo like insane amounts, they could basically instead use these Bane mods instead to add extra damage specifically against certain factions and tweak their builds accordingly. Again, please understand this is speculation because we do not know what DE is going to do in terms of changing for the Serration and Split Chamber, and how the enemy scaling is going to change as well. So this is just speculation and talking about how much, about the situation that we are in right now. Having said that, even then, it does kind of make me a bit scared about, the direction DE might be going in terms of these prime mods. I think it might be getting to a point. In fact, I think it was Headshot who mentioned that it might be getting to a point where we have way too many prime mods. Is it really worth having these many prime mods? Is this just being added for the sake of having a time sink or a credit sink or a whatever sink you want to call it? Is it basically just being added just, so people have a goal to keep grinding against or whatever? Like in certain situations, it's even worth using. I'll be honest, the Bane mods are kind of nation, like I keep saying.
That's nothing. Wait till the Umbra mods come out.
Yep. Oh yeah, of course. Then there's going to be the Umbra setters as well. That's when those mods come out.
They're like double prime.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Imagine the Umbra mods with 20 mod capacity because 528 cores is not enough. Actually, I should shut up. I should not give them ideas.
Too late. It's been said. Too late. It's been said.
Yeah. I'm sure Headshot can cover it in his video.
It's one of those things that it kind of feels like the Prime mod started as a solution to the fact that a whole load of these support mods sucked, like fast hands and stuff like that, which made sense. I don't like Prime mods. I never have liked Prime mods. I think that they were unnecessary and they were a completely over the top fix to something that could have been actually fixed fairly easily. which was to try and make these useless mods a lot better. And now we've got to the stage where it feels like, I used the phrase the other day, I can't remember who I was speaking to, but I used the phrase content for content's sake. And it's almost like it's content just to keep people in the game and doing stuff while they're working on other stuff, rather than being, good content. I don't want to use the phrase good content, as everyone's going to say that out of context, but rather than it being stuff that people kind of actually need, which are the support mods, which should have been better. We've got mods that we're just going to have like 12 extra of these Prime mods because I can't see them not doing all of them now. It's just one of those things where I just think that maybe they've gone too far with what was a bad idea in the first place.
Content for the sake of content.
Yeah. Right, I guess, that pretty much wraps up the topic about Bane mods as well. Just a few more topics left to discuss. I'm sure the people who watched the dev stream yesterday, they probably saw the new rapier that's coming in. I'll be honest, I'm very excited for the rapier. It's a weapon which I've been asking for quite a lot of time. But the only thing that really confused me about the rapier is the rapier is, all about... Exactly. It's a pokey weapon. Why the fuck is it a slash weapon? What is this shit?
Hey, we've got a trident as a slash weapon. Oh, no, actually, it's a puncture weapon with a slashing animation, because why not?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I saw the animations for the actual weapon itself. Like some of the animations have like proper poking as well. And then in one of the animations, I think the stealth finisher was where it literally slashed the enemy's throat. It's a puncture weapon. Why are you slashing throats? Poke them like a stick. Poke them like a hobo with a stick.
It's like rubbing a straw across someone's throat. It's not gonna fucking cut them.
Yes, exactly.
But here's the thing: I did see someone say in the dev stream in the chat that maybe the model that they were using, it was only a placeholder. The damage type that they were using was only a placeholder, wasn't the actual damage type. So it could still change by the time the weapon gets released. So the stats could change, and it could actually be a puncture weapon. So I'm hoping that could be that's the case.
Yes, I'm hoping the same thing as well, because while it was a bit, it was a bit worrying to see slash. So I'm hoping that it was just a placeholder like you said, and that hopefully when it comes to actually being released,
I'm actually starting to think though that they're just trolling the whole community now with the models and the damage types with the trident and now this. If it is the case, I think they're just sitting down thinking, let's see what kind of reaction we can get. Let's give them a stick that's supposed to poke people, but it doesn't.
I was watching the charge attacks as well. The charge attacks were amusing, like how long they took to charge, and then you missed by a pixel.
Yeah.
And even Rebecca managed to miss by a pixel. And it's the problem. I don't like charge attacks in general because they take too long, and I don't know what the damage increase is on them because it doesn't feel like a lot. Yeah. I was doing it with the trident, and it didn't feel like a lot, and I that's another thing. Like probably a topic for another time, but charge attacks I think need maybe another pass over because I don't think they do enough damage for for the time that you spend doing it.
Yeah.
Regarding that showed exactly that because she charged for like what a second, 2 seconds or something, and then managed to miss by a pixel. So you think, well, I could have hit them normally twice and done that amount of damage, right? Or we can just charge for 2 seconds and miss, and then have to hit them twice anyway. But still, that's slightly off topic.
Did they say it was coming this week?
I think
yes.
so. I think so.
Glenn, not Glenn.
Jeff, I think.
Jeff. All the G's.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I don't have a pube on my head. Now you just ruined the fucking thing even more. Screw you. No legs, no arms, never a pube on the top of my head.
You cannot unsee that either.
For fuck's sake, Greg.
I really... You know what? Let's bring it back to the topic and not talk about it. All right. So a couple of other things which they showed on the dev stream was the changes, or rather, the implementation of a randomized button. Now I know, Potato, you do a lot of this stuff where you use the randomizing thing and you play with your viewers or with your Patreons or whoever you play with. And I would think that this would probably be a really good thing for you to choose in terms of weapons and just randomizing and just having fun with that. Personally, I don't like the case.
You don't like it?
I don't like the chaos that it will bring, mainly because
It's fun. It's fun. Well, the way we do it a bit like the Fate Go challenge, where you're playing against each other, so you're allowed to radiate kill each other. You're allowed to to basically try to beat them that way, and it's last person standing. So if you end up getting a shit loadout, then it's your own. You're basically your shit creek without a paddle. It's you have no one to blame, you know. So it's a lot of fun when doing it that way. But
it wasn't.
I can't help but feel bad for the guy that created the website.
Yeah, I know.
This kind of made it completely pointless.
Redundant. Yeah.
Hey, I think I'm going to throw out the challenge to you now. By the way, when that comes in, we're totally doing that.
I think we should all do it, and we should all
We
should all just focus on Frozen.
We should fuck off.
I think we should all just focus on Frozen and just fucking kill it.
I'll bring my link train. I'll bring my link train.
You can't bring your link train. It's going to be
You're
random.
Right, you're going to hit random.
You get fucking hundred.
I'll hit it. I'll hit random, and I'll make sure it brings link train. Don't matter. I'll bring the link train.
You can only hit random once. You can't keep spamming random until you get Trin. You could end up with fucking limbo.
I can't race.
I have a feeling the build on the Trin will probably be. I wonder if it selects a random loadout as well.
Oh man!
Like on your weapons. And
provoked
amazing.
build.
I think in terms of the randomize, I do like the randomized thing. The only thing I don't like about it is the color customizations. There was way too many red and pinks in there, man.
Yeah.
I'm not too keen about that. I like my blacks. I like to be edgy. So I like my edgy colors. You give me my edgy colors or get out. But yeah, it still seems pretty interesting. One thing that still bothers me though, we still don't have the ability to buy loadout slots. I've been doing a lot of PvP lately, right? And I noticed you can buy loadout slots for PvP, but you can't buy for PvE. What's up with that? Come on, man.
Yeah. It would be nice to have a few extra loadout slots.
I'm actually curious, do you guys use the loadout slots? Or do you just kind of roll with one?
No, I have them all used.
I use them as well. It would
So,
be nice, definitely nice to have more.
Yeah. Two other things which was brought up. The Trinity Prime skin is probably going to be the next one which is coming in. I'm sure everyone's already seen the concept art for it. And to be honest,
it looks awesome.
it is probably the
amazing.
best skin, which I'm really, really looking forward to. It looks absolutely beautiful. It doesn't look like armor anymore. It looks like one of those noble, traditional Chinese kind of clothes, which women would wear, I don't know whatever it's called, but either way, it looks really, really nice because of that. Also, regarding the Steam Workshop, have you guys seen what's been coming in with the Steam Workshop? I mean, what are your thoughts on how the Steam Workshop's progressed so far? Like, this is a topic which is close to my heart because, I've always liked customization in games and, being able to mod for games and stuff like that. So I was just wondering, have you guys actually had a chance to have a look at some of the skins for weapons or helmets or Warframe skins, and what are your thoughts on the Steam Workshop and how it's been implemented and how it's actually been holding up so far? Potato?
I think it's great. I think having player-made content in any game is another way to kind of, I guess, extend the life of a game, because players want to get all of these nice fucking skins and helmets, and in a way it will also reward the guys who went and done all the hard work to actually make them. I've bought a few. I've bought the Mag ones, I've bought Excalibur helmets and that, and who else? Volt as well. And absolutely love them as well. The weapon skins as well. I've got the Galatine one and that, and I think they're great. But the ones that's in now, the new frames, I can't wait to see what happens with Chroma.
Yeah.
Personally, so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I think it's a great thing having player-made content in the game.
I'm just sad it's not Nyx yet.
Yeah.
Why no Nyx?
I'm sure it comes soon. I'm actually happy that Mesa's next in the line because, I love my Mesa.
It's a shame still that you can't buy them through the game with Platinum, which it is a shame, but
they might bring that in though when they eventually add them to console though.
Do.
They're going to have to do something like that for console, so maybe.
I hope they do, because I would prefer to buy them with Platinum rather than having to buy them straight up for cash, which I guess from their point of view, I guess it's easier, and it might be a rule to do with the Steam Workshop. But the thing is, like, a load of the sort of bigger games, they keep these things going by involving the community, and that's how you evolve a game, is by involving your community in the actual development of it. Even if it's skins or whatever, it's just yeah, you're rewarding those that have some fantastic ideas. I mean, if you go to the Warframe forums, which occasionally I do, even though I probably shouldn't. If you look at the fan concept sort of area, like there are some really incredible concepts in there for frames, for skins, for various bits and pieces, and there are some really, really talented people out there, and they deserve to have their work recognized, and it's a fantastic way of doing it.
Yeah. I think
more Cerberus skins. I want more Cerberus.
I'll be honest, I don't mind about the Cerberus skins because I got all my PvP skins, so I've got my whole Tron loadout, right? So I'm happy with that. I would love a Tron Warframe loadout though. That would be amazing. But yeah, in general, I like skins. I'm a sucker for skins. I love my fashion frame, regardless of the fact that I go full edgelord. But still, I love colors. I love the color customization, and having different alt helmets or whatever. It just it's perfect. It's perfect. I just love that shit. Also, we've got two more things which I want to bring up. First of all, this was mentioned yesterday on the dev stream itself. We are going to be having a new Archwing coming in soon.
Yay.
The Archwing is going to be. You can hear the enthusiasm here. There's a new Archwing that's going to be developed by the Design Council, which is supposed to be like a support/healer kind of Archwing. So, of course, people who have access to the Design Council, who are watching the stream or watching the podcast once a headshot uploads it, make sure you go to the Design Council. You start putting your ideas if you got ideas, or voting for ideas itself. If I would like that, whoever does it, it ends up being like a decent concept for an Archwing, because we do need a bit of a a healer/support one anyway, because we've got a kind of sort of damage dealer, and we've got like a basic all-rounder, and then we've got the cloaky one as well. So a healer one would probably make sense. But I personally feel Archwing needs to be retouched, but that'll come later. I don't want to rant about that.
That's
just ignore that.
A bit of a different subject.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd agree with that. Archwing needs a bit of a rework.
Yes.
As does Sharkwing. Sharkwing is my most hated thing in the game right now.
Yes.
I can't say what's going on in the Design Council, but some really cool ideas.
Yes.
Some really, really cool ideas, actually.
I would like to make a shout out mainly regarding to what Steve was mentioning yesterday on the dev stream. If you've been watching his Twitter and you watched the dev stream yesterday, he was showing optimizations that DE is currently working on, or rather he's working on regards to lighting effects, how it's helped remove pixelation on textures, how it's helped improve the quality of textures and the quality of the game, just by making it look so much more better, but without actually increasing the cost or making it any less optimized. It's still optimized, but it's improved within that. And I'd like to make a personal shout out to Glenn, because he's been working his ass off lately, and especially over Christmas, over the holidays as well. He's been working, and there've been a lot of issues with people he's been dealing with, like the FPS drops with Infested or versus using spores or whatever the issues have been. They've been working their ass off. He's been working on and off stream, making sure he can try to reproduce the problems that we see and try to fix them out and have them ready for people to play. Despite all the complaints that come in for DE, despite all the complaints that come in and the amount of rage that comes in, people don't seem to appreciate enough what they actually end up doing to fix the problems. And sometimes
I was going to say, I don't think that people quite realise just the amount of work that goes into trying to reproduce some of these bugs.
Exactly.
While you might feel they might be common, actually reproducing them from a dev point of view is actually very, very difficult.
You mean it's not just smacking the PC with like a rubber mallet?
No,
but
that's not the way it works.
Like the infested, like the infested memory leak. Glenn's actually been streaming him trying to pinpoint the actual memory leak, and he actually had his stream running for I think it was 13 hours in a 13-hour survival to try and pinpoint any problems. And that's the sort of work that actually goes into fixing some of the issues. So it's very easy to say, oh my god, it's not fixed yet, why is it not fixed yet? But I don't think people quite realise the amount of work that does go on to try and fix it, because it's not always as easy as we think to try and pinpoint these problems.
Yes, definitely. I think that's more or less it about the actual, podcast for today. We've covered some good points. We made some good headway regarding the points. Before I finish up, is there anything you guys would like to finish up or mention at all before we wrap up for today? Headshot, Potato.
Not really. Just hoping for expansion on the update 18 and see where this year ends up.
Yeah, same here.
All right, okay. In that case, guys, I think this would probably be the end of the podcast for today. Thank you very much for joining. I do appreciate it. We are here with me, Frozenballz, Headshot, and TacticalPotato, YouTubers and streamers combined together. You know, with our powers united, we are Captain Wait.
I was just about to say that we are
Legion.
Captain Obvious.
I'll go with we are Legion. That's fine.
Yeah. So this will probably be the end of my stream as well. I'm going to be stopping my stream after this, and I think Potato said he's going to be taking over. He's going to be setting up a stream as well. So again, we will be live next in a couple of weeks' time. We're going to be doing a podcast every 2 weeks on a Saturday, most likely after a dev stream. So if you would like to watch the dev streams, you can either watch it on stream live when we're doing it, or you can check it out at Headshot's YouTube account. He will be uploading this there as well. So you are more than welcome to join. I am usually streaming Warframe all the time. Headshot does stream as well. I think until his pain subsides, I think it's a bit harder for him to stream right now. And Potato's always streaming in the evenings anyway. So you are more than welcome to come and check out our YouTube. Well, check out their YouTube and check out our streams. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much, guys, and I shall see you at the next one.
I need some fucking legs in that artwork.
Yes, you do.